as indicated, men's health starts at birth. I had my first operation at the tender age of 5. I have visited Wednesday night. I visited a person who was terminal with cancer. She died a few hours after my visit. And after that, I visited a colleague, a doctor who also has cancer, and his roommate was a young man between, I would say between 25 and 33, who had lymph gland cancer. So the point I'm making is that this talk is for all men, and it is important that we are informed about our health and about what can go wrong with this mortal frame. So the Lord has actually called me, of the many things He's called me to, is to spread this message of men's health. And so I want to first talk about just general principles in men's health, and then we can get into some specifics at a later stage. So it will be the 10 health tips for men. Good. So we're going to quickly run through to find a doctor, to see that doctor, to get informed or get information. Try and vary your workouts. Eat to thrive. Prioritize sleep. Check your head. Stay ready for sex. Care for your prostate. Enjoy yourself. All right, so the first thing is to find a doctor. Now, I know that the brothers don't really like doctors, so I need to talk to you about a doctor. You need to choose a physician that you are comfortable with. Now, fortunately, in Cape Town, we have multiple general practitioners, and so you can pick and choose. But get somebody that you are comfortable with, because you need to form a relationship with your doctor. And you can't doctor hop. Please don't doctor hop, because this doctor will have some information about you, another doctor will have other information, and that's not healthy. Your doctor needs to be your total physician. Discuss openly all aspects of your health with your doctor. And do not fear to ask anything. You should have that relationship with your doctor that you can ask him literally anything. Remember, the body consists of so many parts from head to toes. Don't think that this little thing is some minor. I don't want to hassle the doctor with that, because that could be a very serious matter in maybe a month or a year or two from that time. So you can talk to your doctor from your mental status to your sexual function, and anything in between, whether it's your skin, whether it's your heart, whether it's your eyes, whether it's whatever the case may be. The doctor is there to help you dealing with issues that you may have, but also the doctor can also give you some education. So that's also important. So it's about your overall wellness. The people over 50, over 55 will agree with me that at that age, the most important thing in life would be your health. Because you've got a good job, you've paid off your house, you've got a nice car, your kids are big, then the only thing that matters is your health. And if your health is not good, then it becomes a struggle. So, if you have found a doctor, you must see the doctor. It's no use to have a doctor somewhere up there and you never see the doctor. So you have to see your doctor. You have to see your doctor once in a while. If you're young, you don't have to necessarily see your doctor every year. On the other hand, if you're 40 years and older, you have to see your doctor annually because he may pick up things that you're not aware of, because there's a lot of diseases that are asymptomatic. There's no symptoms. I just heard at my table, a gentleman had a problem. He had absolutely no symptoms. Also, don't deny any health problems. If you have a family history, for example, you've got a mother and a father who had hypertension, the chances are very good that you're going to have hypertension. So don't put your head in the sand and say, I'm young, I'm not going to have hypertension. It happens to all of us. It happened to me. And in fact, I was in denial when I discovered that I had hypertension, despite the fact that I'm a physician and I know what's right and wrong. And also, I had a mother and father who was both hypertensive. Don't ignore any symptom that you see or feel in your body. For example, you have a black stool. Oops. Don't ignore that. Attend to it immediately. Your vision is not so nice. It could be that there's a problem in your eye that needs to be rectified with glasses, or it could be something much more serious, which your optometrist can't help with, but your ophthalmologist may help with. So don't ignore any of the symptoms. Chest pain is another one. And just to say that you get such a thing as a silent heart attack. You get a heart attack, but you're not even aware of it because you didn't feel any pain. But if there is chest pain, then you have to attend to it. After the age of 40, you should have an annual checkup if you don't have any health problems. Alternatively, it may be more frequently if your doctor advises so. So it may be once every 6 months, but after the age of 40, if you've got no problems, once a year. Don't ignore strange things. You know your body because you've been living with your body, in your body for the last whatever number of years. You know if something goes wrong. Don't keep it to yourself. Go and see the doctor. Even mention it to your wife. Because sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, our wives will nudge us to go and seek help. But a lot of men don't say anything even to their wives. When they do reveal something is wrong, many times it's too late, and then there's a very serious diagnosis, and the lifespan is then very short after that. Get informed. You want to be knowledgeable. You want to know. And we now live in the age of knowledge. A lot of people go onto Google and they search, how does this work and what is the disease and so on and so on. The best place to get your knowledge is obviously the doctor, because the doctor has studied for so many years and he's got a total picture of what's going on in the body, whereas Google will give you information, but it's not always that you can put things into perspective if you check Google. Understand that you should not ignore symptoms or complaints. That's fatal. It can be fatal if we ignore symptoms or complaints. I can give you multiple stories of people who ignored complaints, symptoms, and then landed up into serious trouble. Don't self-diagnose. Look, there may be times because of your reading and of your searching of the internet that you can, to some extent, say, okay, I need to go to the doctor because it could be this or this or this or that. But don't self-diagnose to self-treat, because that may be fatal. Go and see your doctor. They've been trained for 9 to 10 years. It's a very, very long time. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, When you learn to be a doctor, there's no such a thing as a weekend. You work Monday to Sunday, Monday to Sunday, Monday to Sunday. That's how you have to study. So it's taken a person a long time to become a doctor, and gain all that knowledge, not necessarily experience, but just at least knowledge that they can now sort of apply and practice. Now, if we want to be healthy people, we need to have some workouts. Do not neglect exercises. Now, exercises don't have to be picking up of weights of 15 kilograms or 20 kilograms. It can be a simple thing as a walk of maybe 1 kilometer or 2 or 3 or whatever the case. Or you may have a bicycle in your family room and you sit there and you cycle for about half an hour. Light workout, it's good. Let the heart pump a little bit. Gives a little bit of energy in the body. That is good for your health. The body gets very comfortable when you always do the same workout. So you may this week decide to walk 1 kilometer, and the next week you sit on the bicycle, and the week after that you may want to go a bit of play of squash. Vary it, but keep doing something, physical exercise. It may even be gardening. That's also good exercise. But try not to be a couch potato, because that's a dangerous exercise, if you can call it an exercise. So try to vary your exercises. Now also the exercise must be age appropriate. So for a 70-year-old, for example, walking would be just okay, just the right thing. And then also, if you're a 70-year-old, you may just take a nice stroll around the block. But if you're a 60-year-old, you may take a brisk walk, maybe of 5 kilometers. So age appropriate. 40-year-olds may want to go to the gym and do a little bit of exercise there. Even if you do every second day or once a week or whatever the case may be, at least get going and get some exercises. Now, this is an important one. We must eat to thrive. Good nutrition is important. And I mean, again, the information is out there. What is good food? What is not good food? So be careful of too many carbs, too many sweet things. Healthy eating is important because men know about the middle that can increase horizontal growth. So that is something that can eventually impact on the fat around your heart, for example, and it can give cardiac problems. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. I don't know about you, but I'm blessed that I have a wife that was very conscious about eating since I got married to her, where the result is we have very, very healthy eating habits in our family, and she's even taught her children that as well. Focus on nutrients rather than calories, I mentioned. I'm not saying you mustn't eat cake or chocolates. All I'm saying is be careful that it's not something that you're going to do every day. Focus on the good nutrients on a daily basis. Sleep is important. We weren't made not to sleep. We weren't made to work every day. The Lord has made one day for us to rest. And similarly, we have to rest on a daily basis. So sleep is important. You must try and get at least 7 hours sleep. Unfortunately, for people like myself, our sleep was messed up because we had to work all hours of the night. But most people can have a good 7 hours sleep every night. Do not compromise on your sleep because it's very hard to catch up. Very hard to catch up, especially in 2025. And then you battle, and it takes a few days for you to recover. This is an important one. Check your head. Mental health is really very important. and it's recognized. There are mental health diseases that's recognized, and a lot of people, and men as well, don't take kindly to mental health practitioners. So if, for example, you go through a very stressful situation, you recommend to the person, see a mental health practitioner, the first thing the person will say, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not mad. So it's not about madness. I once was at the psychiatric hospital, and I found one of our church's deacons there, and he was in a major, major depression. And he said to me, I've always frowned upon people with these kind of diseases, but today I'm sitting in this black hole, and I'm battling to get out of it. So mental health disease is real, and don't be scared to go and see your doctor about it, because your doctor would be in a position to help. Do you drink too much? I'm talking about alcohol now. That is a sign that something may be wrong. Are you frequently depressed? You have a depressed, you're not always feeling good. Sometimes you don't want to get up. You feel like, is it worth doing anything today? Are you feeling like that? Do you have varying mood swings? Speak to your wife. Ask her if you feel a bit down. Do you have a family history of mental illness? Because that may be something that you've inherited, so that you need to have to attend to it. Have you ever contemplated or attempted suicide? That's a sure sign that there is a mental problem that needs attention. You need to speak to your doctor about these matters, and when you have that good relationship with your GP, you can speak to your doctor. Right, stay ready for sex. When you're stressed out, not sleeping enough, or drinking too much, you can't get an erection on demand. That's a fact. You need to have a healthy body, a well-balanced body, to have good erections. And for those who may have erectile dysfunction, you know what it means. And sex for a man is important. Let's face it. I mean, we are all men. So a man's erection is a barometer of his general health status. If you have a well-nourished body, blood pressure's under control, you have exercise, you're sleeping well, it will show in your erections. So exercising, eating well, sleeping well will make sure that you remain a stud in the bedroom. Okay, I'm going to have a separate talk about prostate. So we'll talk about that towards the end. Enjoy yourself. So this is a healthy body, healthy mind. Look forward to every day, to doing something for yourself every day, whether it's a run, whether it's reading, or practicing some form of a hobby. So what I'm alluding to here is, for the men who's working, outside your work, have other things to do. Those men that are just working and working and working, when it comes to retirement, all of a sudden, they don't know what to do. What am I going to do? Because the main thing that I've done is gone. And then they stress and they worried about what they're going to do. But if you have, even in your working career, a well-balanced lifestyle, retirement wouldn't be a problem. If you are involved in a church or spiritual activities, great. Stay stimulated. Be involved. Fulfill that gift that God has given to you. If your gift is music, you play music for the church or for the youth or for the Sunday school, whatever the case may be. If your ministry is administration in the church, live out that ministry. You need to have that well-balanced life. Have small but interesting projects that will stimulate the mind. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's just great. If you have a small project, you have to do something, you have to design something because of a problem, and you've designed that thing, you've made it, and you practice it. My word, it works nice. It gives a good feeling, stimulating those good hormones. So have interesting projects. It could be, for example, you have a place where you plant some vegetables, and when you reap those vegetables and your wife makes food, you feel good because it's healthy and it's something that you've done. So that's good. It's part of the enjoyment of yourself. All right, that's the end of the first talk. I'm going to ask you to hold your questions till the end, and then if there's time, we can try and answer some of your questions. So just write your questions down, and then towards the end we can talk about that. So I want to talk about now 15 cancer signs that you should not ignore. I started out by telling you that cancer is real. You have children that develop cancer. I know of a 6-year-old boy, before he had to go to school, his body was in pain. The long and short, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and about 5 months after that, that little boy died. I've told you about a couple of people that had cancer. Not too long ago, I went to a funeral of a 41-year-old lady who had lung cancer. So cancer is real, and it happens to all ages, young and old. So here are some of the symptoms, problems when you pass urine. And we'll have a long talk about that when we talk about the prostate. Changes in your testes. We'll talk about that as well. Blood in your urine or your stool. Skin changes. Changes in lymph nodes. Tell you where to feel for those. Trouble in swallowing. Heartburn. Changes in your mouth. Weight loss without trying. Fever. Breast changes. Fatigue, and cough. Also pain. These are the symptoms. It's things that you as a person experience. No symptoms means you don't experience anything, but these are things that you will experience. Oh, there's belly pain and depression as well. Okay, so problems when you urinate. So many men have some problems passing urine as they get older. The interesting thing about this issue is that because you're getting older and it happens slowly, you actually don't realize that your stream is getting weaker. It's only when you get to a point where there's serious problems and you, for example, have an operation, now all of a sudden you realize, oh my word, my stream was so weak. All right, so here is a symptom that should alert you that something may be wrong in the urinary tract system. A need to urinate more often, especially at night. How many of you have to now get up maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times, maybe 5 times? I had to get up 7 times at night at one stage. So there is a problem. Then there is dribbling. So when you're supposed to pass urine, it's drops falling instead of a nice stream passing. Or leaking. You sit at work and you're busy, and then you discover, oh, wait a minute, I feel a little bit wet. You go to the toilet and your underpants is wet, so you're leaking without you knowing. Or you have urgency. You have to go to the toilet now, otherwise you're going to wet yourself. That's how bad you need to go. That's another few signs. Then there's the trouble of starting to pass urine. So you stand there at the urinal, and you idle, and eventually the urine will come. So that's a problem, and of course a weak stream. Interestingly, the urologist can actually measure the strength of your stream if you go and visit the urologist. Then a burning sensation when you pass urine. So it is painful when you pass urine. Now, all of those symptoms can be caused by an enlarged prostate. We call that benign prostate hyperplasia, which is a fancy term for enlarged prostate or prostate cancer. So, if you have these symptoms, I would recommend that you see the urologist. You can see the GP, but if there are other problems, the GP is in any case going to refer you to the urologist. All right, changes in your testicles. Now, we teach the ladies that they have to feel their breasts on a regular basis for knobs and so on. Same with you men. Every now and then you have to check and feel your testes to feel if there are any knobs. Little lumps, maybe there's some heaviness you feel, or any other change in your testes. Never delay having it looked at. See your doctor immediately. I just want to reassure you, just in case you now look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oops, wait a minute, the one is a bit higher than the other one. That's normal. That's normal. So don't worry about that. That's normal. Testis cancer can take off overnight. That's one of those fast ones. You get slow-growing cancers and you get fast-growing cancers. Testis cancer is one of them. And if there's a nodule, see your doctor immediately. Your doctor will look for any problems with a physical examination. Doctor will do blood test, and urologist will do an ultrasound of your scrotum as well. Scrotum is just a little sac where the testis is in. Right, blood in the urine or blood in the stool. These can be signs. If it's blood in the urine, it's obviously within the urinary tract. So it could be kidneys. It could be the urethra, which is the pipe that goes from the kidney to the bladder. It could be the bladder itself. It could be the urethra, which is the pipe which goes from the bladder through your penis to the outside. It could be the prostate, etc. So that can cause blood in the urine. Blood in the stool can be colon cancer. It could be other things like hemorrhoids. You could have other intestinal inflammatory disease that can also, but it needs to be checked out by the doctor because, you don't know what it is specifically, and it's the function of the doctor to ensure that the proper diagnosis is made, because when you have a proper diagnosis, you then know how to treat this problem. So any bleeding is abnormal, and you need to see the doctor, even if that's the only problem you see. Because sometimes you don't see bleeding, what we call occult blood, which means that you can't see it in the stool. That could also be an early sign of a problem. Although you're more likely to have a problem that's not cancer, like hemorrhoids or urinary infection, it is important to find and treat the cause. Rather be overcautious than to discover, oops, I've got a problem or a serious problem. Skin changes. When you notice a change in the size, shape, or color of a mole or other spot on your skin, see your doctor as soon as possible. Spots that are new or even look different are top signs of skin cancer, especially the gentlemen with pale skin. Melanoma is a big problem, and many times it's discovered too late. By late, I mean the melanoma has already started spreading, and one of the places it goes is to the brain. You'll need an exam and perhaps a biopsy, which means the doctors remove a small little piece of that tissue and send it away for testing. With skin cancer, you don't want to wait, please, because it can spread it very quickly. Changes in the lymph nodes. Now, lymph nodes you normally feel in your neck. You can feel it under your arms or in your groins. If you feel there's lumps there, then you need to speak to your doctor. Tenderness of swelling in your lymph nodes, then a small bean-shaped gland found in your neck, and sometimes you can roll it between your fingers, armpits, other places, often signal that something is going on in your body, because lymph nodes is part of the lymph system, which is part of the reaction of the body reacting to foreign things like cancer or infections. Usually it means your immune system is fighting a sore throat or a cold, but certainly cancers can also trigger changes in the lymph system. Have your doctor check any swelling or tenderness that doesn't get better within 2 to 4 weeks. Trouble in swallowing, that happens as well from time to time. Now, if you have trouble swallowing that is persistent, that doesn't go away, then you need to see the doctor, because there could be a throat, could be a stomach, could be esophageal cancer that is causing a blockage for you to be able to swallow properly. So throat exam will be done. Barium swallow is a whitish contrast medium that you swallow, and as you swallow it, they take an X-ray to see how it goes down and if there's any narrowing in your swallowing tube. Okay, so that's an X-ray. Heartburn, this is a common one. In most cases, you can take care of heartburn if you change your diet, drinking habits, and even stress levels. If that doesn't help, you continuously have this burning feeling, you need to seek help from your doctor. If it doesn't go away, then it means doctor is going to have to look at the stomach, the esophagus, and the throat. Heartburn is basically when the acid pushes up into your esophagus and it gives that burning feeling. Now, if you have continuous acid getting up into your swallowing tube, then there is a disease called Barrett's, which is basically an inflammatory disease, but that can eventually lead to a cancer of the esophagus. So you want to treat that as quickly as possible, and there are medical treatment for that. Throat cancer, mouth changes. If you're a smoker or have smoked tobacco, you have high risk of mouth cancer. And just by the way, smoking can cause lip cancer, mouth cancer, pharynx, back of the throat cancer, larynx, vocal cord cancer, lung cancer, and bladder cancer. Those are the cancers that are directly caused by smoking. Keep an eye for a white, red, or gray or yellow patches inside your mouth or even your lips. And if you see those, that could be cancer, and you need then to have it seen by the doctor or the dentist. Dentists can also have a look at that because they're actually mouth specialists. Weight loss without trying. So your pants starts getting a bit loose, and you're not on a diet, and you're not on an excessive sports program or exercise program. Then you have to get worried. Not worried, but go and see the doctor. I had a call from somebody once, and he said, "Man, I'm losing weight. My eating is normal, and I don't feel sick. What could it be?" I said, "Go and see your doctor immediately. He will probably refer you to the hospital, public hospital. They will do the test." Long and short is, this gentleman had a cancer that has already grown into his kidney. And later years, he died of that cancer. So loss of weight without trying is a symptom. So if you lose more than 5 kgs without trying, that's not normal. Have it seen. Although most unintended weight loss is not cancer, it's one of the signs of cancer of the pancreas, stomach, or the lungs. So don't wait. Immediately see the doctor so that things can get to a point of diagnosis. So there's all kinds of tests that they can do. They can do blood tests. They can do CT scans. They can do ultrasound. All of those tests they can do. Fever. Fever is normally not a bad thing. It simply means that the body is fighting an infection. But interestingly, if it doesn't go away, and it doesn't have a firm explanation, so the doctor didn't pick up any infection, it could be a sign of leukemia, because that function within the blood fighting the infection is knocked out by the leukemia. So it could be a cancer. All right, so the doctor will help you to sort that out, or at least make a diagnosis. Breast changes. All right. Now, males also get breast cancer. Who of you knows Don Moen? The singer, gospel singer. He's got breast cancer. Interesting story. Go on YouTube and check it out. So male breast cancer is a rare malignancy in males, and it accounts for less than 1% of all cancers in men, and less than 1% of all breast cancers, male and female. But you could be part of that 1%, so be wary of that as well. And yes, we tend to ignore breast lumps. If you have a breast lump, also feel in your armpit, and if you feel a lump there, you need to run to the doctor. All right. Early detection is key to successful treatment, and this applies to most cancers. Fatigue, you're tired, and it's a bone-deep tiredness. We're not talking about you've had a long and intense week. Friday night, you really feel exhausted. We're not talking about that tiredness. We're talking about deep bone tiredness all the time. That is something that you need to ask the doctor to help you with and sort out what is the problem. And if that tiredness is affecting your daily life, whether it's your work, whether it's your social activities, then it's a problem. You need to have it sorted out. All right. Coughing. In non-smokers, a nagging cough is usually not cancer. Smokers have what we call a smoker's cough because of the irritation of the nicotine in the airways. And most coughs, not the smoker's cough, but the non-smoker's cough, if there's an irritation in the lungs, it will go away within 3 to 4 weeks. If it doesn't go away, then your doctor needs to have it checked out. And one of the most common diseases that give a symptom of coughing is obviously TB. I just need to say to you that 95% of the population in the Western Cape are infected with TB. So 95% of this group of men have already been infected with TB, but only 5% will get sick. And normally you get sick when your immune system is depressed for whatever reason. So, as I say, you have it there, and I've got personal experience. I've had TB just at the end of my medical training. I didn't have any symptoms. It was picked up on X-ray, and they tried to make a diagnosis, couldn't make a diagnosis. We did X-ray every 6 months for 2 years, and after 2 years, the spot got bigger. They put a tube down into my stomach to get early morning gastric aspirate, and the aspirate was positive for TB. So, TB is... a cough is the most common sign of lung cancer. So for that reason also, you can't ignore a persistent cough, not one that's 2 or 3 weeks and then it's over. Doctor, interestingly, in South Africa, doctors don't really do tests for TB. It's normally the clinics, because the clinics are more sort of have a high level of suspicion because they deal with so many TBs. But some doctors will too. Okay, normally they will do a chest X-ray to check if there's other problems like cancer. You can see clearly there's a mass in the lung, or if there's TB, they can see that as well. Or if there's other just infection like pneumonia, that will be also picked up. Pain. Cancer doesn't cause most aches and pains, but if you are hurting for more than a month, then you need to have it checked out. Now, let me just say to you, a cancer is a mass that is growing all the time. Now, that mass does not belong where it is, because it's not supposed to be there. So obviously that mass will push on other tissue. And that pushing on other tissue continuously is the cause of pain. When you get home, try this exercise. Press your arm like this very hard for half an hour, and you see how painful that spot becomes. So that's pressure on the tissue that's causing the pain. So that's why you need to have it assessed. Ongoing pain can be a signal for many types of cancer, including bone or brain cancer, especially those that have spread. So melanoma, for example, skin cancer, it spreads. My pastor's wife, healthy, fit lady, running marathons, she just had a fit one day. Checked out, CT scan, melanoma that has just spread already, and she died a few months later. Chest pain could be a pointer to heart problems. Of course, there's angina. Visit your doctor for further tests. Belly pain and depression. It's rare, but depression along with stomach pain can be a sign of cancer of the pancreas. That's not a nice one. We've seen increase in pancreas cancer over the years. Should you worry? Not unless the cancer runs in your family. So have that in the back of your mind as well. See your doctor. Hoarse voice. Okay, so this is not a hoarse voice after a nail-biting win of the Springboks, and you were screaming and shouting in your family room. That will cause a hoarse voice. But if you have a hoarse voice that just comes from nowhere, it could be infection like laryngitis, which is normally viral. If that hoarseness does not go away, then please see the doctor. It could be a nodule on your vocal cord. All right, what's the time? Are we time out? Okay, so I'm going to have to cut the other talks. There's still 3 more, but I was planning to do 3. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut the prostate cancer talk, which is a very important one, unless the House votes to have the talk. But if not, then my time is up. So are there any questions on the 2 talks I had? Please feel free.